Hello, everybody, and welcome. We're excited to have all of you here today with us as we are going to discuss how and why communicating the value of GIS in your organization is important. My name is Ann Taylor, and I'm the tribal lead here at Esri, and I'm very excited to have Adam Carnow, who's an Esri community evangelist, presenting on communicating the value of GIS. In our series of webinars this fall, we're turning our focus towards creating a GIS program that's not only impactful, but also sustainable and successful. And during our last webinar, we focused on the importance of having a geospatial strategy. A geospatial strategy defines how your organization will use GIS to achieve its goals. And this is key to helping you overcome the challenges you face and improve the impact of your GIS program. So today, Adam is going to talk about how communicating the value of GIS to your leadership and stakeholders will help get the support and resources that you need to sustain and grow your GIS program. So again, thanks so much for joining us. And to get things started, I'll hand it over to Adam.
All right, thanks a lot, Ann. All right, hopefully everybody can see my screen okay.
Yep, looks good over here.
Okay, cool. All righty, so thanks for everybody for joining us here today. We're going to be talking about how to communicate the value of GIS in your organization and why that's important. Also, how to measure ROI to figure out what that value is. And as Ann mentioned during this series for the tribal users and others out there, we're focusing on the 5 key components of GIS success, which are strategy, which was addressed in the first of these 3 webinars. There's also governance, and here we're talking about organizational governance, and this is how you provide a decision-making structure for your organization's geospatial capability. Of course, there's the technology and data that goes with it. There's best practices here that are at the heart of successful enterprise GIS. There's change management, and when we talk about this, we're talking about the organizational change management, which is helping people adopt change for a more successful enterprise GIS. And change management is a really critical piece of the puzzle here to helping you be successful. And then the last of the 5 is workforce development. We're helping people take advantage of GIS by developing necessary skills. And so again, in the first webinar in this series, we focused on strategy, but today on this communicating the value of GIS in your organization, we're focusing on change management because it's helping people understand the value of GIS so that they're more willing to use it and support it as well. And it's really critical. And so what's important to understand about these 5 key components is that in order to truly be successful with enterprise GIS, you've got to be firing on all 5 of these cylinders. You can't spend 100% of your time on technology. So it's critical that you learn how to work in these other 4 areas, and we're working to help provide you with some strategies to do that. So first, let's talk about why are we here. I'm sure that you're very busy and you could use some additional resources like more budget, staff, infrastructure, training, events, time. Well, in order to get those things, you've got to convince the people that control the resources in your organization, you've got to convince them to invest them into you and your GIS program. And so the bottom line is, in order to do that, you've got to provide value. So what is value? But to me, this is how we define success in an organization. It's not how many maps you can produce or how many projects you're working on or how many people you have or how many servers you have. It's what value are you providing the organization. So if you want to be successful and gain access to additional resources, you've got to produce value for the organization, and you've got to communicate that success so that people are aware of your impact. So really, the definition of success is recognized value, because if you're providing value but nobody knows about it and you aren't being recognized for it, then it's as if you're not even providing it whatsoever. So 2 steps: number 1, provide the value; number 2, get recognized for that value. And that's what we're here to concentrate on today. So when it comes to annual budgeting time, the people that control that process are asking every single department. So it's a competition, right, for a set of resources. And they're asking them, what have you done for me lately? So communication of your value to those people that control the budget is critical as they try to figure out how to allocate the limited resources. But they also have to justify their budgeting actions. So you've got to communicate in clear metrics and vivid success stories. And there are other reasons as well for the need to measure and share your value. Number one is to stimulate the expansion of GIS within and external to your organization. We all know that GIS provides benefits. So the more people using it, the more benefits are realized. So you should always be focusing on the expansion of GIS. The second one is to celebrate success. You want to, again, celebrate and publicize the good things that you're providing to the organization. And again, to reinforce that need for investment. So this is critical year round, not just during budget preparation process. You need to every day be fueling that awareness of all the value you're providing the organization. And then lastly, but probably most importantly, is you've got to provide accountability for the resources you are getting. You've got to show and take credit for the value you're generating to show that, what, your investment into me and my organization is paying off. All right, so now we'd like to get to the first poll question. Noelle.
Thanks, Adam. So on your screens right now, we have an interactive poll. So please feel free to select all of the answers that apply. And so the question is, which of these do you do on a consistent basis? Stimulate the expansion of GIS, celebrate success, reinforce the need for investment, and provide accountability. Again, please select all that apply. We will give you a few more moments to provide your answers, and then I'll send it back over to Adam to discuss the results. Thank you. All right, so we have a majority of you already answered, so we're going to close the poll and we will share those results now.
All right, so this is good. So we've got almost 3/4 of you out there are reinforcing the need for investment. That's great. 65% stimulating the expansion of GIS, 42% providing accountability, and 38% celebrating success. So this is really good. So these are you're doing part of this already, so that's great. And hopefully with the rest of this webinar, we'll be able to help you close that gap and do a lot more around your organization. So thanks very much for participating. We've got a couple more later on, and I'm anxious to see those results as well. All right, so time to move on. Okay, so I want to show you what it looks like when you've got an organization that's really doing a great job, and what I've seen is the best job at both documenting and publicizing their success. And they've derived a set of best practices that I'm going to share with you today in this presentation. So what I'd like to do is introduce you to some of the planning and development services of Kenton County, Kentucky GIS team. On the left, you've got Ryan Kent, who's a principal GIS data analyst. In the middle is Lewis Hill, senior geospatial data analyst. And on the right is Tricia Brush, the GIS director. Now, this group is one of the most innovative, progressive, award-winning GIS teams in the local government industry that I've ever seen. And they have a really great story. So back in 2008, during the recession, their county was really hit hard financially. And one day, Tricia got a call from her supervisor during the budgeting process that due to the county deficit, she needed to prepare a presentation for the Planning Commission to justify their budget. So they were being considered for elimination from the budget. They were going to cut GIS from the entire budget and organization. So this was a huge wake-up call, right? So Tricia prepared her presentation and she was able to deliver a successful presentation. She saved her team and the GIS department. But this was her wake-up call. So she had to reinvent the group to make sure that this never happened again. And this is how she did it. So this is a comprehensive strategy that includes a whole list of elements. Number one are KPIs, key performance indicators, right? Metrics. Next one is branding. They've got a great brand. She does marketing. She's active on social media. They're very active in communications. They do lots of presentations. They get certifications, both GISP, Esri certifications, and AICP in the planning realm. Now, these are key as they validate your knowledge as part of a professional community. They get awards. They volunteer to give back to the community. So these initiatives are designed to raise their visibility so that everybody knows who they are and what are their contributions. Now, their scope goes beyond GIS. Multiple staff are active in a group called Toastmasters International. You may have heard of them. It's a club focused on communication, public speaking, and leadership. Their emergency management specialist was asked to serve on the board of directors for the local emergency planning committee. So Tricia focuses on mentoring and turning her staff into well-rounded superstars that give back to the community above and beyond just trying to show off all the great work that they're doing. So let's look at some of the ways that they're doing this. This is their publicly accessible website, linkgis.org, where you can explore their applications, shop for maps and data, and contact the staff. Now, it also features a series of articles that highlight their work and the impact it's making on the organization as well as the community. You can see their branding as LinkGIS. So this helps set them apart and provide a recognizable identity. So as LinkGIS, they're one of the nation's pioneering GIS systems, and they serve 3 counties in northern Kentucky: Kenton, Campbell, and Pendleton. Now, they have another website called the NKY Map Lab that's used to highlight how they're using GIS to support the county's planning process, as well as facilitate better understanding by the public and its elected leaders. Now, in 2016, they won the Kentucky chapter of the American Planning Association's Outstanding Use of Innovative Technology Award for this initiative. Other similar initiatives are the NKY Drone Lab and the NKY Dev Lab. That same year, in 2016, the county's comprehensive plan called Direction 2030 was published, and they won a National Award of Excellence from the American Planning Association. Now, the Direction 2030 website is a digital interactive experience to communicate their comprehensive plan. Now, most comprehensive plans are huge documents distributed in PDF format, but this one's different. It's very engaging, and it contains interactive web maps powered by ArcGIS that can be updated as the plan is implemented, so it's always up to date. Now, also, for each project highlighted on their NKY Map Lab site, they produce a beautiful large format PDF map that tells the story of the project. They're very proud of their graphic design and cartography skills, and they're constantly working on them. And the team isn't just the map makers for these projects. They actually help collect the data and multimedia elements like photos and videos, etc. Now, they also produce a story map, interactive web app for each of the lab's projects. So I'm sure you're wondering, why is this such a big deal? We all make nice maps and story maps. But the difference here is the impact of these. They focus on vivid storytelling and local geographic context that are tied to strategic initiatives. They help engage the audience in new ways, and they're making a difference. For instance, this story map was used by the city of Erlanger to demonstrate the need for the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet to make immediate improvements to that road. After publication and presentation of the map and story map, within a matter of weeks, they were awarded a total of $1.8 million to fund the project. All right, now that is a big impact. So check out this quote from the mayor. And that's a great example of providing value and gaining executive support. It's also an important lesson that your GIS-based solution that you provide doesn't have to be overly sophisticated and complex, involving lots of spatial analysis and custom coding. The power of a well-constructed map and story map that conveys critical information can really be a game changer. Here's another example where one of their projects led to a significant return. They put this story map together for the city of Fort Mitchell. Again, the city was seeking funding for a road project. So this road project is in one of the city's busiest intersections, and it experiences frequent congestion and has been identified as one of the Cincinnati metro area's high priority transportation projects. The project's primary deliverable was this story map that served as a single point of reference for city officials, citizens, as well as business owners. And the story map documented traffic congestion conditions, existing land use conditions, future land use plans, and demographics. And it included interactive maps, a summary of the businesses operating in the area, and video interviews detailing the impacts of traffic on the area, especially to the businesses. Now, this effort was successful, and the city got $250,000 from the state. So here's another great quote, this one from the mayor of Fort Mitchell. All right, so two great examples of how your work can directly impact organizations out there. Now, they also have a marketing plan and budget that includes giveaways to help spread their brand and their message. Each year they give out calendars that showcase their work. They've got buttons, USB drives, etc. So I've not seen this anywhere other than here as far as the local government GIS realm, having an actual marketing plan and budget and giving things away to just increase the awareness of their brand. Now, they also have a very strong social media strategy. They have an RSS feed that you can subscribe to. They have a Facebook page. They have 2 Twitter accounts, and the staff are very active on LinkedIn. Now, Tricia and her staff share their stories and presentations at numerous events, including Esri events like our user conference, the GIS Managers Open Summit, as well as our Geodesign Summit. And they've received many different awards, including an Esri Special Achievement in GIS or SAG Award in 2017. Now, awards are great ways to show your colleagues your value and from the external community. And they're a great way to get notoriety internally. They validate the value of your work and they show that it's appreciated by the community. They also make the leaders of your organization look good. I mean, everybody likes to fill a trophy case. So look for award opportunities and apply for them and seek to win at least one each year. Now, we've also highlighted their work, Esri has, via articles and case studies. This one is about their Map Lab initiative and its success. All right, so let's go back to this earlier slide. Do you think the Kenton County group is successful because they're delivering recognized value? They sure are, because they are delivering that value and getting recognition for it. So do you think when it comes to budgeting time that those in charge of the resources are asking Tricia, what have you done for me lately? They don't have to, because every day via multiple methods and initiatives, they're proving their value to the organization as well as the community. But here's an important point to make. Even though you would think that everyone understands the value that LinkGIS is bringing to the organization and that they can relax, that's not the case. They had a turnover in executive leadership, and that's triggered another call for Tricia to defend her group and program. She's gotten even more innovative in proving their worth. She's now reviewing legislation to tie their work to these regulatory requirements. So here's an example of that work. I know it's hard to read, but this is Tricia's report, and she has aligned their services with specific pieces of legislation, then shown what year they began providing the service, the primary benefactors of the service, and the source of funding for that service. And additionally, they're looking at the monetary value of the data that they provide to other agencies as another way to prove their value. So I think this tying your work to legal requirements is a really great way to defend your value in the organization. All right, so what can you do? First of all, follow the great example from Kenton County, create a strategy and plan to convince the leaders in your organization to invest resources into you and your program. Show them the business value that you're bringing and can bring to the table. And this means measuring your impact as well as communicating it. So in the rest of this presentation, we're going to go over how to measure the benefits of GIS, the calculation methods, examples of success, and then a conclusion, resources, and call to action. So first, let's talk about measuring the benefits of GIS. Now, we all know that GIS provides benefits, and therefore we should be expanding its use. And a lot of you are doing that. I can see that from the poll. But the more people using GIS, the more benefits and value that are realized. So it's important to keep these benefits in mind as goals for our work. So let's look at a list of some benefits. Remember, keep these in mind when you go to start a project. Look back at this list and seek through that project to realize as many of these benefits as possible, because afterwards, then you can document that benefit and then communicate it. So GIS can help you achieve objectives, help you improve outcomes in customer service, help you avoid or reduce costs, help increase efficiency and productivity, help assure and increase revenue, help protect staff and citizens, help support regulatory response, and help enhance customer satisfaction and competitive advantage. So these are really good list of benefits. Here's another one, and it's got some of these in here that are similar. And this comes from an article from 2009 in ArcUser. What I really like about this spectrum here, or this prism model of benefits, is that I like how it categorizes it into these 4 different corners here, right? Finances, customers, these are process related, and these are output related. So no matter how you look at it, it's important to keep these benefits in mind and seek to achieve as many as possible in your projects, and then document them and communicate them. All right, so how do we calculate value or ROI? So first, let's look at what is the definition of ROI. ROI is a powerful tool for evaluating existing information systems and making informed decisions on software acquisitions and other projects. And the basic formula for ROI is that the percent of ROI is equal to the total net benefits divided by the total costs times 100. And this gives you percentage of ROI. Others use a raw number like dollars saved or units of time saved. If you want more information about how to formally produce an ROI report in detail, you can check out this book called The Business Benefits of GIS, an ROI Approach, available to you from Esri Press. Now, if you're looking for another good resource on how to calculate and document ROI, you should check out this video from Wade Cluse. Now, Wade's the Director of Enterprise Systems at the Utah Department of Natural Resources. He spent a lot of time working on GIS ROI. He's authored several articles about it and presented on it. And this video presents the method that he uses to calculate and document the ROI that his group generates. Okay, so this takes us to our next poll question. Noelle.
Thanks, Adam. So again, you have an interactive poll on your screen. We will give everyone a few moments to select one. So this is a yes or no question. Do you document the value you provide to your organization? So we already have quite a few of you who've already replied. We'll leave this up for a few more moments to get a few more of you. Excellent. I am going to close the poll now, and we will share these results.
Cool. All right. So this is not good news, but this is good news that you're here seeking help, right? Because it shows that 68% of you are not documenting the value that you're providing to your organization. So it is critical that you start to add that to your to-do list. Make it a best practice. Every time you close out a project, document that project as if you were writing an article, just the way Tricia and her group do, about what the problem was that you solved and what value you provided. Okay. Now we have another poll question after this, right?
We do. So another yes and no question. So please feel free to respond. If you do you communicate that value internally and externally?
All right. So if you are documenting your success, or in your value, are you actually communicating that internally and externally?
All right. And we will go ahead and close this poll and share the results.
Okay, so again, 63% of you that are documenting it are not actually communicating that out. So you're providing value, but you're not getting recognized for that value. So you've got to take it the next step. You've already got the great documentation. Now what you've got to do is get it out there and in front of people's eyes. So it's really, really critical to getting recognized for your value so that you can get the resources that are justified for you to provide more benefit and more value. Okay, so back to the presentation. So in Wade's presentation on ROI, he has a spreadsheet that he's developed that he puts out there to download. And here's the URL where you can go and download Wade's spreadsheet. And it's a great way to calculate the savings of your project. And Wade's really wants your feedback on it. If there's a way to improve the spreadsheet, or if there's ways that you've used it to justify and you got more budget, let him know. He wants to know if people are using it, and if they are, how are they being successful with it. So he's a really valuable member of the GIS community, so please take advantage of that. Now I'd like to show you some other, I think, interesting ways that people are looking at the value that they're providing. So this first one comes to us from the University of Michigan. This is an ArcGIS usage dashboard. So this, they've got services out there that can tell them exactly who at the university is using their GIS. So it tracks the number and growth of registered users. It shows unique logins over time. They can look at users by college, school, and degree program. And they recently published a blog post on the Esri community to share how they did this. So this is really good, because how many of you actually look at your user base and know how they're using it, who's using it, how much are they using it, is it expanding, is it going up or down or whatnot? This is really good because you can be proactive, you can reach out to the users once you see how they're using it and help them use more of it, etc. Here's another interesting one. This comes to us from Johnson City, Tennessee. They have a dashboard that tracks their data maintenance inside their enterprise geodatabase. So it shows the total number of records, feature classes, features, and editing activity over time. It helps with data quality by identifying any empty tables out there or which ones don't have editor tracking enabled. But this can be really helpful for showing the level of effort it takes and how much work you're doing in the data maintenance area, because I know data maintenance is a huge effort and a lot of it takes a lot of resources. This dashboard I really love. This comes to us from Annie Anand, the Enterprise GIS Manager for Dallas, Texas. And she uses it to analyze her GIS staff's time. So she can see exactly what type of work they're doing and for whom. It shows their work backlog, the percentage of time spent working for each department, the GIS usage by department, what kind of work they're doing, like are they doing data management, are they doing mapping and visualization, is it analytics, field mobility, decision support, citizen engagement. So this provides great insight that allows her to proactively adjust her workloads and identify opportunities for more of a certain type of work or where you may need additional staff or training. So I think analyzing your staff's time and how they're spending their time and for who and on what can really help you be proactive in making your operation much more effective. And I mentioned the KPIs that Tricia and her group do. This is her KPIs that they track. So her group participates in the Kenton County Financial Transparency Dashboard that's available to anybody online. And this is just a list of the metrics that she tracks. So she tracks the number of data and map requests each month, the average minutes spent on the GIS websites, the number of hits on the websites, the revenue from data and map sales because they sell their data and maps, how many linear feet of maps they've produced, and the amount of data that they've provided to their customers. So, and again, a great resources as it's regularly showcasing their performance in quantifiable metrics or KPIs. So let's look at some examples of success. And first of all, I want to focus on the COVID-19 response because, obviously this is the central part of our lives for unfortunately, the past, year and a half. This has been a massive disruption to almost every organization, and it's clearly a priority for all business. There's some great examples of how some organizations were able to quickly deliver value to their business using GIS. And for a lot of organizations, I know this is the first time that leaders, and I've heard executives at the top now know better what GIS is and the value they provide, and are now getting much more attention and resources. So this COVID is actually an opportunity for us. And what I want to focus on here too is that I really don't like to use the term ROI because that implies percent of time saved or dollars saved. And not every time we do something with GIS can we say it saved X amount of minutes or it saved X dollars. There's other quote unquote value out there that can't be quantified that is just as valuable or even more so, right? And a lot of it comes down to this. So let's first look at I'm sure everybody recognizes this, perhaps the most visible map in the world right now. This is the global map and dashboard for COVID from Johns Hopkins University. Now, this was created by PhD student En Shengdong in about 8 hours using commercial off-the-shelf configurable ArcGIS dashboard. And once it was, first released, it went viral. That's a good pun, but it went viral really quickly, and it now gets over 1 billion hits per day with a B. That's almost 14,000 hits per second. It's designed to handle over 2 billion hits per day. They also have one for the U.S. that provides information at the county level. And what's interesting about that is how do you calculate the ROI for these? They're providing critical information in a near real-time manner that's accessible to anyone. People from all over the world are using it to make incredibly tough life or death decisions. So that's a key important point, that not all ROI can be measured by time or dollars saved. These applications are providing huge amounts of value. Do we know what that is? No, but that's okay. We can still document it and communicate it. And look at who was using it. So this is back from 2020. At the time, this was Acting Deputy Secretary Ken Cuccinelli from the Department of Homeland Security. You know, there was a while where they were updating the dashboard and it was down, and he had tweeted saying, you know, is it down for anybody else or is it just me? And here's a shot of former Vice President Mike Pence photographed in front of the dashboard when he visited the U.S. Coronavirus Operations Center. The impact of this is just huge. In the end of 2020, Time released their 100 most influential people, and Lauren Gardner was on that list. And she runs the group at Johns Hopkins that is, providing this information and resources to the world. As well as near the end of 2020, Time had their best inventions of 2020, 100 innovations changing how we live. And they had the Johns Hopkins Coronavirus Resource Center listed there. So the impact that this application has had on the world and our GIS community just cannot be quantified. It's a watershed moment in our industry. As far as I'm concerned, there was the GIS community before this, and then now it's after this, because it's a great way to just tell people what you do for a living. And now, instead of trying to describe it, people ask me what I do for a living. I say, have you seen the Johns Hopkins dashboard? Oh yeah, all right. Well, GIS is the technology and science behind that. Oh, people instantly get that. So again, remember, I've heard lots of stories of people now getting the attention, much more attention from executives after they've stepped up and provided some value through the COVID pandemic, and now saying, what else can you do for me? So let's look at some other COVID-related success stories. The World Health Organization has a dashboard. Census Bureau has a dashboard. And we cataloged over 380 different applications across the US and another 330 across the globe. So over 700 apps, and these are just public ones, were stood up to help provide support during the COVID-19 response. Really amazing job that the GIS community has done here. Really incredible. And I'd like to highlight some specific to our tribal nations. So Seneca Nation put out a coronavirus hub. We've got the Yankton Sioux. We've got the 3 affiliated tribes, the Eastern Band of Cherokee, Tribal GIS, Nez Perce, Sandia Pueblo, the Muckleshoot, and the Cabazon Band. So really great response from the tribal nations out there. And this is just some. I know there was probably a lot more behind the scenes or others that I don't know about, but great job for all the work you're doing out there. So, okay, last poll question, right, Noelle?
Correct, Adam. So this is the last one. Interactive again, so please select one, yes or no. Have any of you deployed the ArcGIS solutions for COVID-19? And we are getting a lot of responses from you guys, so we'll probably close this one up pretty quick. We'll just leave it up for a few more of you to come in. All right, excellent. And we will go ahead and close this and share the results.
Cool. All right, so great response here. So 35% of you out there that are on the call right now have provided COVID response. So cheers to you, great work. I would love to know from you if your COVID work has led to more resources or more attention for your GIS group. And kudos to you for providing support for one of the biggest challenges that humanity is dealing with now. So great work. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to talk to you about if you are, or even if you're not providing COVID support currently, but maybe you work with people that are involved with battling the pandemic. I want to make sure you know that we have a suite of 15 different solutions designed to help with the coronavirus pandemic response. So it's more than just a dashboard or a hub site. So we've got these 15 listed here. You can get to them from solutions.arcgis.com. So please, if you do work with folks supporting the pandemic, go to that site, check out these solutions, show them to your colleagues, and see if they could use more of your help in addressing this real challenge. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is actually point out some things that these apps have in common. First of all, these apps are configurable. In a pandemic where you have to have fast response, there's no time for custom coding. Next is they're cloud-based. They're for viral apps that are going to go viral and have a lot of people hit them. You have to have the elasticity that the cloud provides to adequately meet that demand, no matter how big it is. They're user-centric, so they're accessible to anybody. They're data-driven. They're designed to showcase the data with visualization and analytics, and they're simple and easy to use. So this is the modern GIS recipe of a low-code or no-code commercial off-the-shelf configurable app that's powered by the geospatial cloud. This has been proven now to be the best way to provide valuable technology solutions in a short time to a huge audience and to keep them sustainable without the custom code. So Esri has been preaching this for years, and it was proven during the pandemic. So I would seek to follow this in all your work. Let's look at some other examples not related to COVID. I'd like to highlight Tallahassee, Leon County, Florida, their GIS group. First thing I'd like to show you is a story map. This is from one back in 2016. Every year, the GIS manager down there does an annual presentation to the leadership of that organization. And he reviews all of their accomplishments and provides clear examples of how they're providing value to the organization as well as the community. This is a best practice for all of you. At least once a year, you should be presenting to your executives on everything you've accomplished as well as your plans for next year. Here's just a few examples from his presentation. This was really cool. They had taken all of their automation routines, their scripts, and they had redone them into Python and optimized them. And I'm sure a lot of you have, ETL and automation scripts out there, but have you ever calculated how much time you're saving due to those scripts? They did, and were able to show that 2.5, these scripts are saving the equivalent of 2.5 full-time employees. That's pretty amazing for a leader to see that kind of ROI, and that will certainly justify some more investment. They've also integrated with another enterprise system. So their integration was with CityWorks, which is their work order and asset management system. This provided, allowed staff to perform intelligent and cost-effective inspection, monitoring, and condition assessment. So anytime you can have a chance or an opportunity to integrate with another enterprise business system, always take advantage of that, because it's not just the two systems put together. The return on investment is usually a multiple, not just 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = 3, 4, or 5. They provided a news service. They used ArcHydro to more accurately model their stormwater system to, address some flooding issues. Result of these efforts enhanced the decision-making abilities of the staff to better perform their jobs and really improve the flooding conditions for the residents. Let's look at some more examples from Tricia and her group at Kenton County. They generate revenue through map sales, and 1 year they collected almost $266,000. They increased efficiency and provided a new service. They integrated with their Acela road right-of-way management system, and in the first 8 years, they recorded an ROI of over $270,000. They maintain data for agencies that they partner with, and normally they sell their data. So when they have to provide their data at no charge, they wanted to track the value of that data anyway, and so they've in a single year provided $285,000 worth of data to partnering organizations. Now they started in 2017. They started a new service by starting a drone program. They were busy with this drone work right away since the moment they started it. They did not, customers came to them. They didn't have to market this internally. And in the first 2 years of the program, they worked in lots of different areas. Here's an example of some of the kind of projects they worked on. And they've completed over 45 projects, had over 203 flights, flown over 189 flight miles, and over 32 hours of flight time. And the ROI in the first 3 years is over $50,000. All right, so now let's wrap it up, get on to the conclusion, some resources, and a call to action. So bottom line, you got to measure your impact, and then you got to broadcast it via any available channels. Follow the example from Kenton County and the others that we've shown. So this needs to be part of your regular routine, and you need to communicate in clear language, and you need to tell a story. You simply present the problem or the challenge, talk about how it was solved, and then explain the benefits. Remember, it's not about the technology, it's about the impact that the technology delivers, and then building an image and a reputation for consistently providing business value. Remember, if you want detailed information on a comprehensive methodology to build a business case for your GIS, you can check out this book from Esri Press. Now, I've developed a GIS ROI story map It contains a whole catalog of examples and other information, and it's all available in a single web app. You can get access to it here. Be aware that we will be providing access to the PDF version of these slides, and they're all hyperlinked so that you'll be able to click on this page and go right to that website. Remember to check out the video from Wade Cluse on his GIS ROI documentation method. You can also download his spreadsheet and utilize that. Then this is a really good report that was put out recently from the Harvard Kennedy School Ash Center for Democratic Governance and Innovation. And it's about why every government executive should care about data. So if you work in the government space, this is a really good article. It has in-depth analysis with examples of the generation of public value through analytics, and it includes an analytical framework that uses 3 categories of public value: financial, operational, and public trust in government. If you need more information on geospatial strategy, which was addressed in the last webinar, but it applies to everything strategic that we're doing here, be sure to go to this URL and look at this document, The Approach to Maximize Impact, and then reach out to your Esri account team for more assistance in creating a geospatial strategy. Here is a really great book. It's not specific to ROI and communicating your value, but it's really awesome resource on geospatial strategy essentials for managers. It comes to us from Esri Canada and Matt Lewin. You can check this out. Really helpful book that talks a lot about a lot of those 5 key components I went over at the start of the presentation. And then let Esri help tell your story. You know, you're probably familiar with our publications like Arc News, Arc User, and Arc Watch. You've probably read stories about other users' successes. So let us help you publicize your success. You know, we've also got numerous newsletters, case studies, podcasts, etc. So if you'd like to submit an article, you can go to this website and do so, and hopefully we can help tell your story to lots of people. Okay. So here's your call to action. You know, in these times, executives are looking for ways to do business better. They're looking to how can we do more with less? How can we save money? How can we digitally transform? And how can we replace manual workflows? This is at the top of every executive's mind right now and every day. They need to know that GIS can help with all of these. So when those executives turn to their managers and say, help me do more with less, help me save money, help me digitally transform this organization, and let's replace manual workflows, we have to make sure that people think about GIS as a way to do these things, because if they do, we will get more resources. Because even when budgets are cut, usually technology budgets go up because they have to do more with technology in order to be more efficient. So let's take advantage of that. And by communicating your value, you will get this across to people that when they think of these things, they'll think, oh, GIS can help with that. And another great call to action from one of my colleagues here at Esri, Bill Meehan, Director of Utility Solutions at Esri, in this article from 2019. This quote, that enterprise GIS can transform the business by lowering costs and hassles, greatly improving decision-making, and communicating to executives in ways they've never seen before, is totally accurate. And we should keep this in the front of our minds every day and drive our work around this. Print it out, put it up on the wall, and let it drive your work every day. All right, one more thing before we go. I don't want this to just be another presentation that you sit through or listen to. I want this to actually change your work and change the way that you're delivering work. I want you to document your value. I want you to publicize your value. I want you to get more resources and be more successful. I intend these presentations to be inspirational and motivational and get you to actually change your ways. If you think about it, our job as GIS professionals is actually as digital transformation agents of change. We are there to put the technology out, get people to use it, to make our organizations and communities better, and to deliver lots of value. So let's change the way we're doing things and do more of that. Thanks very much. Here's my contact information, email. I'm on Esri Community, Twitter, and LinkedIn. I'd love to connect with customers and help them out and hear your stories and help tell your stories as well. So that's all I have, and I guess now we're going to Q&A, right?
Yes, actually, we're going to make some announcements first and then do Q&A.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Thank you, Adam. That was awesome. Very informative and also inspiring. It's so great to see what other people are doing and the success that they've had. So we have a couple of events coming up in October and November, an imagery summit, infrastructure management conference, and a ocean weather and climate forum, and then we'll be attending TribalNet in Grapevine, Texas in early November as well. We also have some webinars coming up. And I also wanted to let you know that Noel has uploaded a flyer to the GoToWebinar that has this information as well. Future webinars, we've got From Manager to Leader. That's the next one in October, and Adam will be doing that one as well. And then we will be talking about increasing the reach of broadband. With the infrastructure bill hopefully getting passed soon, this will be very informative in terms of how to use GIS to help get those broadband grants. And then I think now we've got Q&A, and we've got a couple of questions that have come through the question window.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now. So I see from Emmy that it would be great to do a follow-up presentation on how this organization is tracking their time. Are they using a GIS solution, Survey 123, or connecting to the timekeeping database? I would connect you directly to Annie at City of Dallas. So Emmy, if you reach out to me, I can get the two of you connected. But I believe, I don't know if she tracks it using Survey 123 or simply a spreadsheet. So what I would best do is not try to answer that question, but I will connect you directly to Annie, and then you can ask that question to her on how she's tracking their time. And then I see from Scott, will the video of this webinar be made available? And yes, it will, along with the PDF of the slides. And then I see a great comment from Carlos saying thanks a lot. And thank you, Carlos, and everybody else for your time today. No other questions? Nobody else out there has anything else they want to ask?
There are a few other questions that came in, and I'm happy to ask those if you don't mind answering them, Adam and Ann.
Sure.
Yeah.
So first question is, how do you get the attention of executives so they'll support GIS?
Okay, so that's a great one. So first of all, executives need to know who you are. So people do business with people, and so you've got to build relationships with executives. So you've got to proactively, and I know can be, daunting, but you've got to get out there. You've got to introduce yourself to executives. You've got to proactively start to build a relationship with them. Let them know who you are, what you do, and the value you're providing to the organization. So it's just a matter of proactively getting out there, getting in front of executives. And I know that if we're working remote, that's hard to do. You can start by getting introductions from maybe other managers that you do know that value your work. Get them to introduce you to executives. See if you can get invited to meetings that those executives are in, even if you're just sitting in the background watching it. They'll see you on the invite list, and maybe they'll start to see your name and so forth. So you've got to get out there, proactively start to build relationships with executives to get them to know who you are and the value you're providing. Anything else, Noel?
Yes, there are two more. So next one is, how do you find the time for this documentation and communication of value?
Okay, so that's a great question too, and I know that a lot of you are probably thinking about that my plate is full. How am I going to find time to do all this stuff? Well, the bottom line is you've got to find time. It's priority. You've got to prioritize your work, and this documenting and communicating of value is one of the most important things that you can do. So you've got to prioritize it. If it means unplugging from email and putting your phone straight to voicemail for an hour a week or whatever, you've got to do it, or to work extra time or what have you. And part of that is creating more time by getting rid of the low value work that you do. Teach other people to make their own maps or get access to data on their own, or ask people to take classes to learn things. You've got to clear space in your available time window so that you can dedicate it to this highly strategic business side of GIS on actually being successful in the enterprise. Because if you're not, documenting that value and communicating it, then you're not going to get more resources, and you're going to pretty much stay as is. You're not going to grow. Do we have another one?
There is one more, and if any other pop to your mind, please feel free, everyone who's attending, to just shoot us a question. I have one more on the list, but if any of you have anything else, please feel free to add. So next question, Adam, is how do I know what kind of value is important to an executive?
That's a really great question too. So every executive sees value in different things. So it's what they care about. So a great thing to do when you're approaching an executive and trying to get to know them is to ask them two questions. Number one, what is your pain, right? What is driving you crazy? What is causing you issues? Executives are happy to talk to you about what that is, right? And they'll talk to you, well, we need this or that, or this is what's driving me crazy. So know what's driving them crazy, what their pain is. And then once you know that, if you can find a GIS solution that helps alleviate their pain, then you've provided value to them that matters directly to them because you've helped ease their pain. The second question is, what is your vision? So what is your vision for whatever it is that they do at this organization? And they're also very happy to talk to you about what their vision is. So then you want to, again, find a GIS solution or some sort of application that helps support and get them closer to their vision. All you have to do is ask those things and then provide them ways to ease the pain and get them closer to their vision, and you will provide value to them that matters expressly to them and they think is important. So that's the easiest way that I can say to do that, is whatever that is that they're working on, whether it's be reduce crime or reduce, the effects of the pandemic or increase economic development or whatever it is, that's what you need to be focused on, making sure that you're dedicating your GIS time to support, because that's what matters most in your organization, is what that executive thinks is important.
Great questions. Anyone else?
That's all I can see on my end.
Okie doke.
All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, for joining us today. Noelle, you will be sending out a follow-on email, is that correct, sometime tomorrow, with links to the recording and all the different resources that we've mentioned, as well as the PDF of Adam's presentation, correct?
Correct. Yes, that email will come directly from GoToWebinar. So be on the lookout for that one, everyone.
Excellent. Well, thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we look forward to talking with you again in about a month, a little over a month.